pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, we will call this meeting, this Belton City Council to order Tuesday, July 20th at 5:31. First, I'd let everybody know that Councilmember Craig Pearson will be participating remotely via video conference from Panama City Beach, Florida. He's there waving. We'll just go ahead and double check your audio again, make sure we can hear you, so we're all legal.
I can hear you fine. How can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. Thank you very much. All right. Item 2 on our agenda is public comment. Citizens who desire to address the council for any matter may do so at this time. We'd like you to limit your comments to 3 minutes. You can come to the podium, state your name and address, and address the council on any item that is not on the agenda, if anyone wishes to do so. No one willing to take up that opportunity. We will shorten the council meeting by at least 3 minutes. And move on to the consent agenda, items 3 and 4, a very long consent agenda. Item 3, I will read these and these can be enacted by a single motion. Item 3 is approving the minutes of the July 8th council meeting. Item 4 is adopting resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an advanced fund agreement with the Texas Department of Transportation for the construction of 5-foot sidewalks along both sides of East 6th Avenue from Interstate 35 to Texas Highway 317 or Main Street. Those are the 2 items. If anyone wishes to remove those, they can. If not, we can enact by a single motion.
I'll move to approve items 3 and 4 as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve items 3 and 4. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, passes unanimously. All right, we are in the planning and zoning section. This is going to be items 5 through infinity. And so we'll be here for a little while. So sit back, relax, have some fun. Tina is going to be the first one, Miss Tina. So item 5 is hold a public hearing and consider a zoning change from agricultural to retail on approximately 1.91 acres located near the northeast corner of Commerce and Sparta Road. I will be abstaining from this, so I will not be voting, but I will just manage the motions. Ms. Tina.
Yes, sir. Just 1 second, please.
There it is.
Okay. Thank you. For this zoning, again, this is from agricultural to retail zoning for a future use as a possible dentist's office and maybe a multi-tenant building with retail and restaurant at that property. The adjacent properties are all retail. The new urgent care that was constructed just to the west of that is retail. Where Goodwill is retail. Across the street is also planned development retail and multiple family residential. And the Walmart site is also east of the site, it's also retail. There is a subdivision plat that's currently under review, and this was one of the requirements because the lot does not meet the requirements for agricultural as 3 acre. This is slightly over almost 2 acres in property. The future land use map shows this as commercial property, and that is appropriate for neighborhood services, commercial 1 and 2, and retail. So it fits with our future land use map, very consistent. For water and sewer, this is in the city of Belton CCNs, and there are no extensions needed for this property. Notices were sent out to property owners within 200 feet of the property. We received 1 letter of support for the zoning change. The Planning and Zoning Commission heard this item at their meeting on the 15th and recommended approval for this item. I will be happy to answer any questions that you guys have for this presentation.
All right, if anyone has any questions, now's time. If not, we can entertain the motion.
Public hearing.
Oh, thank you so much.
Don't abstain too much.
Yeah, I'm abstaining way too much. So sorry about that. So we will open the public hearing. If anyone wishes to speak in favor or against this item, now's the time to do so. We will open the public hearing. There being no one wishing to speak for or against this item now, if you guys have any questions or would like to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the item as presented.
We have a motion and a second to approve the item as presented. Any other questions before we vote? Again, I will be abstaining. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, it passes 5-0 with one abstention. All right, item 6, hold a public hearing. Mental note, public hearing. Hold a public hearing and consider a zoning change from commercial highway to commercial highway that with a specific use permit on approximately 0.5 acres located at 1269 West US Highway 190 Service Road for an electronic changeable copy billboard or a digital billboard. Ms. Tina.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This property is just east of Loop 121 going up the hill on the frontage road. The applicant is proposing to remove 2 traditional signs and replace it with a double-faced digital sign. So at the bottom of the hill, there is one regular billboard. Up where they're replacing the sign, there is a billboard, but it has 2 fronts on that one. So they're replacing that with one that meets our requirements for a 48 by 14, 672 square feet sign area and 42.5 feet tall sign. Also, there are electrical requirements that we've added in our sign codes to regulate this. And that includes a maximum of 300-foot candles. Ambient light conditions, it must dim to that. It prohibits blinking, flashing, and shimmering and other intensities. It requires a 10-second minimum display for the signs, and the changes should be done within 2 seconds or less. And that's for driver safety, hence why that was approved in 2022. The Planning and Zoning Commission heard this at their meeting on the 15th and recommended approval for this. Again, this one has to comply with the commercial highway zoning district should the site develop. And also the electronic changeable sign must meet our sign requirements for that changeable letterings and the intensity of it. The 2 existing signs have already been removed. If you've driven by there looking for that, they're gone. With that, the applicant is here. Should you have any questions for them, or I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
All right, thank you, Tina. All right, we will close our deliberations and open the floor for a public hearing to discuss this item. If anyone wishes to speak in favor or against this item, now's a perfect time to do so. All right.
I live at 19 Cedro Circle in Belton, Texas. Good evening. I think that most of the heavy lifting has been done already when we built the other one and getting, the ordinance changed. So Teresa Lang and I are here just simply to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, anyone else wishes to speak on this item? No one else wanting to speak on this item, we will close the floor and reopen deliberations for the council if you have any questions or wish to make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the item as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the item as presented. Any other comments before we vote? No other comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, passes 6-0. All right, item 7, hold a public hearing and consider an amendment to the Belton zoning ordinance related to overnight truck parking. Mr. Bob.
Thank you, sir.
Are those parked overnight or is that day parking?
I just tell you what, I'm slightly intimidated by this picture.
Yeah, it is. It's
Kind of feels like I'm parked in the wrong place. Okay, let's get started. The purpose of this item is to consider adding a specific use permit to the requirements for overnight truck parking for truck stops and convenience stores, etc. A number of truck stops and rest stop applications have increased recently. You probably noticed all that. And I think that's in part due to a study that was completed back in 2019 that evaluated the need for additional truck parking facilities in the area. And they actually recommended a bunch of places here at Belton. And so the folks that were doing their due diligence identified Belton as one of the many places throughout the state of Texas to do this. And I think this was in response to a federal law that says you got to have a certain amount of rest time as a trucker. And so we're seeing that kind of thing taken through us, those things taken care of here. And so recently, as you all know, overnight truck parking, that component of the truck stops and the convenience stores has created some concerns with some projects that have come through the process. And as you know, truck parking is allowed by right in the commercial highway zoning. With or without overnight truck parking or that kind of thing. But the ordinance is silent to the part of this particular aspect of the operations, which specifically, talking about overnight parking. And I just want to make sure that you understand that commercial highway is the only zoning district that truck parking is allowed. There's no allowance in other zoning places. And only if there is a rezoning or plan development or anything like that, is when we get the opportunity to look at the details of a particular rezoning case. But PDs and rezoning are not always needed. But if we had a formal approval process like the SUP, for instance, then we would see those kind of things coming through the decision-making process with P&Z and council, things like that. All right. So we're suggesting a three-part approach to adding the SUP process. One is in section 23, which deals specifically with the commercial highway area. We're basically separating the overnight parking from truck parking. And if there is any kind of overnight parking that's not permitted by right. So we've moved that into section 33, which deals with the specific use permits. And so we've listed that as one of the things in the commercial highway area that needs a specific use permit. And then finally, we're suggesting that we amend 42 by adding a definition for overnight truck parking. And that definition is in your packet. And working with PD and with Tina, kind of working through the process of pulling that definition together, we think it's a good one. Hopefully, you all will agree. The Planning and Zoning Commission had their public hearing on this item back in July 15. They recommended approval of the proposed amendments. We concur, and I'll be happy to answer any questions after the public hearing if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. We will close deliberations and open the floor for anyone who wishes to discuss the overnight truck parking ordinance. If you wish to do so, you can approach the mic. Let us what you think. Let us know what you think. All right. There being no comments, we'll close the floor and reopen to deliberations for the council.
Questions? Can you go back to the proposal slide for me real quick? My understanding of this is that in theory, somebody could build 88 truck parking spaces, but have a rule of no overnight truck parking. But how do you really enforce that? If you build it, it's gonna get used. So like I just feel that section 23 probably doesn't have enough like teeth in it if we're trying to prevent the overnight parking. I mean, look at the truck stop in south of Salado. I mean, they don't have enough parking spaces. People park anywhere where there's concrete. So I mean, I think if you add truck spaces, you're gonna have overnight parking.
Right. So I think what I'm hearing you say is how do you enforce it? If they put parking out there and they do spend time overnight, will that be on a complaint basis? I think the definition defines it as 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. So if they're there between that period of time, then they're in violation of the ordinance. And so I think, I'm not going to speak for the chief, but I think they'd write him a ticket.
Just like speeding.
Yeah, I mean, but I just think that I don't know. We've been pretty have a general consensus up here that we're not really in favor of overnight truck parking. I think like Cefco on Airport Road and I think it's Hilliard or Research, whichever one it turns into there. I think they did a good job. They have a big truck fueling, but minimal truck parking. But I still feel like if you look at the picture on the slide, if you have too many spaces, we're just assuming they're going to be empty because the gas station's going to enforce no overnight.
I don't think
Right.
it's just my opinion. If you're going to invest in a truck stop and put a lot of parking that can't be overnight, I don't think they're going to be putting that parking in. So I think it's a moo point.
Always one.
We're able to, if I remember some of our discussions, we're able to also limit the number of parking that's allowed in the approval process?
Yes, yes.
Unless it's commercial highway already.
Yeah, and I think I'll just add real
Okay.
quick for council.
Okay.
The SUP allows it to be, I think we've talked about in some areas, it may be
Right.
appropriate for 50 spots, and there may be spots where it's not at all. So exactly what you're talking about, Stephanie.
Right, so I want to know that there's still a option for controlling the number and also allowing overnight if we have a avenue for that. We're
Right,
not
exactly.
just shut it
Yeah, the
down.
point of putting the SUP on there is that you get a chance to look at it. And if you see a big sea of parking, then you might become suspicious about what's happening there. And you can say, well, we really need to revisit the number of parking spaces. So that's a very good point. We get to look at that and be part of the process of making sure that you get what you want.
So there is a limitation on the number of spots in commercial highway. There's
No.
not a limitation at
No,
all.
there's no limitation. We thought about maybe putting together some kind of a matrix that would, help you understand that kind of stuff, or at least provide some input on that. But we figured, well, we give you a matrix and there's more stuff to think about. And so, you can just look at it on a case by case basis and decide where it is, what you like, what you don't like about it, and then kind of move on from there. And that's well within your purview. It's very appropriate. It's very appropriate.
Sure, going forward, requests for rezoning to commercial highway, you'll have to keep that in mind that
Yeah.
truck parking is allowed, overnight parking is allowed. Also with the SUP, it gives you the opportunity to evaluate location, site plan, layout, and so forth of overnight parking. So
Right.
two mechanisms, again, looking forward.
If it's already zoned commercial highway, what are our options? Can we adhere to this, or is it's only with moving forward with zoning changes, correct? Okay.
Correct.
They would need commercial highway with a specific use permit if they wanted to do it.
Right. But
If they wanted overnight,
Right.
not excess number of spaces.
if it's already zoned and they're not getting a zoning change,
Well, what we're doing is we're amending,
can't.
we're amending the commercial highway. So while it's still commercial highway, the definition of commercial highway has changed to
so we
not
can
allow
enforce highway.
Correct.
Yeah,
The overnight parking.
no overnight.
Yeah.
But to Daniel's point, if they just want to put it parking.
Yeah, like if I take a previous case we've had, if there wouldn't have been RV spaces, the 88 would have been there and we wouldn't have had a choice.
That's correct.
The 88 could still be there now, but they wouldn't be allowed to do overnight parking.
That is correct also, yeah.
When they find it to be appropriate, if it's not.
Yes.
Elementary school.
Yeah.
Other traffic issues. or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I think there are quite a few, I say quite a few, there are several areas within the I-35-14 corridor that is appropriate for overnight parking, but not every area.
I noticed in the writing, it just mentions commercial. And as you mentioned, the last case we had, it had a mix of RV and commercial. So, I mean, if someone just comes and says, I want to do a gas station with 20 RV overnight parking, they can still do that, right?
Well, with RV, it's a different animal. I think there's a provision that they would need to go through either a PD or a rezoning, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, we're focused on overnight truck parking here.
Yeah.
We have provisions for RVs already.
Thank you.
I think this is good. It may be worth having another future discussion about limiting the number of truck parking spaces in commercial highway, just generally speaking. But I think this is good. I would move to approve agenda item 7 as presented.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the amendment to the Belton zoning ordinance related to overnight truck parking. Any other comments before we vote? All right, there being no other comments, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, passes 6-0. All right, item 8, consider a final plat for Whitish Estates comprising 0.6614 acres located on Wildwood Drive at the intersection of Cowhouse Drive and the Belton ETJ. Ms. Tina.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This plat proposes the consolidation of 3 previously platted lots into one single lot. This was previously Canyon Heights lots number Sorry, my eyesight are not the best. 3, 4, and 5, I believe, and now it's just one single lot. The zoning for this is in the Belton ETJ, so there is no zoning. However, there is a setback requirement of 25 feet from the front property line that the applicant is aware of. Water in this area is provided by 439 Water Service. They provided a letter letting us know that they have a 6-inch line that's capable of providing service here. Sewer, there are no sewer lines from the city in this area, so this will be provided by an on-site septic system that the health department has already reviewed to look at the lot requirements, and it meets the minimum lot size. Streets in this area, Wildwood Drive is a local street. Our typical standard is a 50-foot wide right-of-way for a local street. There's currently 16 feet of paved road in front of the house. It's partially paved towards past Cow Horse. That roadway disappears. Staff is requiring the applicant as part of our rule to submit in to actually dedicate a 7-foot street right away. This is just our typical requirements to ensure that there's right away in the future in case Bell County decides to do something there. With that, it would achieve 43 feet of right of way. So across the street, the other applicants decide to change their plat, they would also dedicate another 7 feet to achieve that 50. Sidewalks are not required on local roadways, so it's not required here. Parkland dedication, because this is a consolidation, and also because there's no local parks in the area, that staff recommended a waiver for that requirement. The Planning and Zoning Commission heard this on the 17th, and they recommended approval for all of the variances, including the right-of-way. And that is certainly something that you guys are able to also consider with this final consideration for this plat. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys have on this item.
All right, thank you. This not having a public hearing. Does anyone have any questions? Tina?
Currently, we have 36 feet of right of way. Is that correct?
Correct.
And there's 16 feet of roadway, so that we've got the ability to. But how wide is a local street? 30 feet?
Our standards in the city is 31. Yes, sir.
31 feet. So we've already got enough room to build a local road if we need it. I drove out there and looked at this, and I don't think that I don't think that this will ever need to be honestly a bigger road than what it is now. But even if it does, I don't think it'll need to be bigger than a 31-foot road. I think what's also interesting about the property is even though it shows 142-foot lot depth or something like that, when you measure the narrowest point of it, it's only about 100 feet, and the back 20 feet of it drop straight down. I looked at that on the aerial deal and measured, and I think that if we ask for any more right of way than we have, it'll never be used and it's not necessary. So I would be in favor of the variance on this one.
Okay.
Yeah, partially improved is a stretch at best. I had a question on the Bell County ILA with like street maintenance, and are we still under the old one? Okay, so there wouldn't need to be new that would trigger them to go out and do a better road for them.
We are under the current ILA basically, and so this is a county road for county maintenance at this particular point in time.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I agree, Dave, on especially because they're combining 3 lots into one. It's not going to be multiple houses going in. So,
yeah, we had a couple of months ago, we had the smoke signal lane, kind of a similar deal, and I think smoke signal lane probably serves more houses than
this
road does.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda item with the variance request for the
Second.
waiver on the right-of-way dedication.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the final plat, allowing for the variance.
Variances, there's
The variance, well, I heard the dedication of the 7 feet right of way is the variance.
Oh, I just approved it as per recommendation. I guess I'll amend. I make a motion to approve the agenda item with all 3 variances.
It's been seconded.
Yeah. So
I'll make a motion to amend the motion
There you go.
to include the waiver of the parkland dedication, the waiver of the perimeter street improvement, as well as the variance that was already recommended for the.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to amend the motion to include the waivers for parkland and perimeter street improvements. Any discussion on that item? All of those in favor of the amendment to the original motion, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That being passed, the new motion is that we will approve this with the waivers approved of parkland dedication, perimeter street improvement, and the requested right-of-way variance not requiring that. So I think that's correct. Any other comments or questions to that complicated foray into Robert's Rules of Order?
There's a book.
There's a book. It's boring. All right. All right. There being no other, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes 6-0. Mr. Roberts, General Roberts, appreciate the rules so we can make it through the motion. All right. Item 9. Consider a preliminary plat for River Farm comprising 478.5 acres located generally east of Interstate 35 on Toll Bridge Road, north of the Lampass River in the Belton ETJ. Ms. Tina.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think this presents itself. We've heard it a couple of times. This is for the preliminary plat that shows 8 phases that are proposed throughout this area, and it's going to consist of 1,600 plus new homes. Water and sewer, of course, is provided by the city of Belton through our MUD agreement. The applicant has a 12-inch line that they're running to the site. Internal lines will be 8-inch. Water is also going to be 8-inch throughout the site, and the city will maintain both the water and sewer lines after construction by the applicant. Access, there's 3 onto the site, one from Canopy Boulevard, which is the major collector that goes throughout that development. It's proposed as a collector road with a median that separates the streets. So we'll create 2 points of access for this area off of Toll Bridge. Red Thistle Drive is also in the middle, and that is a minor collector that's shown on the city thoroughfare plan. And White Sage is a third, the northern entrance that's allows for this. Per our requirements for subdivision, anything over 101 lots requires to have a minimum of 3, and this meets that requirement. The plat proposes improvements to Toll Bridge, which you guys are aware of. There are 2 different phases. The first phase is immediately adjacent to the applicant's property. And that is a major collector with 80 feet of right-of-way and 36 feet of pavement will be constructed. That will include the curb and gutter and also a dedicated turn lane. The second phase is north of the applicant's property line, and the city has an option to participate in that development of that roadway. And parkland dedication. Ultimately, the applicant is proposing 2 amenity centers, and there's also over 55 acres of open space in this area. They're proposing sidewalks and walking trails throughout the area. With that, the Planning and Zoning Commission heard this item at their meeting on the 15th and recommended approval of this pending final review by staff. I'll be happy to answer any questions. There are some outstanding comments, 1 or 2.
All right. Nice to see this moving forward. As you said, we've discussed this multiple times. Again, not being a public hearing, any other comments or questions, or we could entertain a motion.
My only question that I had is on, I know it's not necessarily the first phase, but that kind of south side, right at the entrance, that road that's a divided road, similar to like Chisholm Trail Parkway. I see black lines going across. Are those cross access or no cross access from like where that strip of green and blue is at the bottom left to get to like the exit? Does that make sense?
Yes, I think the lines you're seeing, there's different lines to show the different phases. Cross access, actually, this is where the river is. The Lampasas is, I think, what you're looking at maybe on the south side.
Well, no, so like the bottom left corner, I wish I had a pointer. But there's like the row of green and the row of blue.
Okay,
And then the main entrance right up, yes, right above those, it's a divided.
The main
one way
entrance.
And one way out. And then there's those black lines that go across the median. Are those cross access points? Like
Well,
from street to street?
there are
or-
local streets that tie into that. So there could be local streets that are tying in is what I think it might be representing.
It just doesn't look designed like a road. And so like, if you come out of those houses, you have to go all the way in to like a good chunk.
Correct,
So
but there's
just wasn't
also
sure if there's enough, like,
additional
emergency
access.
exit.
Right, there's also additional access. There's Red Thistle on the north, so if you wanted to avoid that, you could, but the applicant is here. They can actually address that as well. Yes, please. And state your name and address.
Hi, I'm Testula. I've been here before, 8400 Mountain Drive, Salado, Texas. Those are cross access in and out of what is phase 2. Yes, they are.
Okay.
So down near the Lampasas River, all the way to the south left. I know that's not a direction. Corner coming out of what will be phase 2, which is your next agenda item. Those are cross access across Canada.
Okay,
Yes,
that was my question. Okay.
yes. Sorry.
So I was just picturing a fire truck or police car having like.
All
Sorry,
again.
you'll see better on phase 2 now that I think I understand.
Any other comments or questions? Chair would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve agenda items as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the preliminary plat for River Farms as presented. Any other comments before we vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes 6-0. All right, item 10, a related motion to consider a final plat for River Farm Phase 2 comprising approximately 72.203 acres, generally located east of Interstate 35 on Toll Bridge Road, north of Lampasas in the Belton ETJ. Ms. Tina.
For the sake of time, I'm going to skip over most of this because it's already repeated with the preliminary plat. But this is the second phase that proposes 72 acres, 174 lots. 10 of those are HOA lots that are for the sidewalk and just green space in the area. Okay, so water and sewer is the same. This is the second leg of that development. So here is Canopy Boulevard. It continues on, and this is on the eastern side of that. So that's an additional 14 more lots, I believe that's on that other side, 12 lots actually. With that, the parkland dedication is also the same as the street and sidewalk. The internal streets are local street, 50 feet of right of way, and there are sidewalks down Canopy and the local streets as well, proposed by the applicant. One of the amenity centers is also in this phase. Other than that, planning and zoning heard this item at their meeting on the 15th and recommended approval. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
All right, thank you, Tina. Again, not being a public hearing, any other comments or questions or a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve agenda item as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I'm seeing a pattern established to approve the final plat as presented. Any other comments or questions before we vote?
I've got a question. Tina, on this, if you could go back to the plat, yeah, that one, there's a temporary access easement that kind of cuts through the northern part of that. Is that something that's going away with the construction of this?
Yes, sir. I'm thinking the temporary access easement is in phase 1A and not this part, but please answer.
So the temporary easement is vacated as soon as the final plat's recorded because we'll have access to the school through Canopy.
Oh, for the utilities.
Oh, I'm so sorry. James Cognetti, 7611 Mifflin Kennedy Terrace, Austin, Texas.
Is that like the existing road that's there now?
No,
The dotted lines?
No, it was to ensure that the school, if we did not build phase two, they would have access to their site.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions? All right. We've already got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right. Again, passes 6-0. Item 11, consider a replat of lots. Thank you, guys. Consider the replat of lots 5 and 6, Belton Original, comprising 1.72 acres, located at 1200 West 2nd Avenue, near the northeast corner of North Loop 121 and West 2nd Avenue. Ms. Tina.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor. This property is located right to the east of the intersection of Loop 121 and FM 93. It's currently zoned retail, which requires a 7,000 square foot lot size, and that exceeds that. The water is available on site. It's closer to FM 93. That blue line on the drawing indicates where that location is. Sewer line, the applicant will need to extend the sewer line from the adjacent property to the east, and they will need to meet our requirements for to and through, and that will provide connection for the future proposed today's car wash that would be going to the west of the site. For roadway, TxDOT controls both Loop 121 and FM 93. There is a requirement to meet our standards for right-of-way. There is an 8-foot dedication needed to meet the 120-foot right-of-way width that the city requires. Sidewalks, TxDOT has a future plan to widen this roadway, and sidewalks will be provided at that time with that improvement. Planning and zoning heard this at their meeting on the 15th and recommended approval of this plat as well.
Thank you, Ms. Tina. All right. Again, not being a public hearing, any comments or questions from Ms. Tina? I do have one. If you could go back to the graphical, yeah, that one. The blue, I'm assuming, is water. The green, I'm assuming, is sewer.
Yes, sir.
And to and through is going from right to left, or from or from left, anyway, just for clarity on the water and on the sewer.
Okay, it is going from east to west.
Okay.
On the to and through, and the sewer line is already existing. I'm sorry, the water line on the south is already existing, so they will not need to extend that
Gotcha.
water line.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we.
And is there cross-access easement along the front of the lot for?
There are several of them. There is a cross-access easement located here to provide access for both the adjacent property, and also along the front, there is cross-access to get to the other lot. And there's another cross-access over here as well.
Where was the third one you said?
The third one is up here close to Loop 121 that will provide access to this lot. So it will be around circulation to get to them, both lots.
I'm really glad you guys are working with people to have those cross-access easements, especially in these busy street. I think getting busier. It's huge.
I don't see I see the shared easement driveway at the bottom right corner. I don't see the other cross-access easement noted on here for this lot.
There are, and I apologize, I wish I brought the plans. There are easements where actually one of the comments is that they need to be recorded, and the recording number needs to be on the plat. So that's one of the comments, is to get that recording number on the plat for that. So there is a cross-access easement.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion that we approve the item as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the replat of lots 5 and 6, Belton Original, comprising the 1.72 acres. Again, clarifying that the cross-access easements will be noted when it's recorded. Any other comments or questions before we vote? There being none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, again, passes 6-0. Moving on towards infinity. Number 12. Consider a preliminary plat for the Skyview Commercial Edition, comprising 18.81 acres, located on the southwest corner of Interstate 35 and Loop 121. Ms. Tina.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You guys may remember this from a zoning change that we did a couple of months ago. This property is zoned commercial 1. And it looks at including the TxDOT right of way that was recently sold to the applicant. So the applicant is developing this, the zoning, it satisfies the lot dimensions, all meet our standards. Water and sewer is within the city of Belton. There's an 8-inch water line that would be extended from the residential subdivision to serve this area. Sewer is also going to be extended to provide services through here. So there's going to be an internal 12-inch sewer line to provide services. Access to the site will be from Interstate 14, a TxDOT roadway. TxDOT has approved one access along that roadway and also 2 off of Loop 121. There are construction plans by TxDOT to widen the roadway off of Loop 121. So sidewalks will be constructed during that project. The applicant will be required to construct sidewalk along the frontage road. The applicant actually is requesting to put that in an escrow fund for that. Old Golf Course Road is a minor collector, and as part of the closure of West Loop 121, which is now the applicant's property, they're required to extend the roadway to the intersection of the Interstate 14 access. So there are plans under review to do that extension as well. Old Golf Course Road is a 60-foot right-of-way, and requirements for that is a 36 pavement width, but curb and gutter and a 5-foot sidewalk is also required for Old Golf Course Road. There is a 14-foot right-of-way dedication that will be provided with phase 2 of this plat when that is reviewed as part of the final plat. Planning and zoning heard this item at their meeting on the 15th and recommended approval. There are a couple of comments that are being addressed with the applicant. Pending the approval from staff comment letter dated on the 8th. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys have, and the applicant's here should you have any questions for them as well.
All right, again, no public comments. So any comments or questions from the council?
Couple of access questions. Lot 1 in the top left, will that have access from Old Golf Course Road?
Yes, sir. It will have access. Also, the applicant is putting in some internal cross-access easements on this flat. So it will also have access from the phase 1 portion of it to get there. I believe they're putting the old West Avenue as the cross-access to get to those internal lots.
Okay, and then the bottom right lot, lot 9, well, going up to lot 8, it looks like there's access easements there, but it doesn't extend to lot 9. So will lot 9 just be come and go off of 121 or Skyview Drive?
Skyview Drive, but they also have a note on the plat. One of the plat notes is that there will be cross access for lot 9.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. I'll move to approve this agenda item as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the preliminary plat for Skyview Commercial Edition. Again, noting the staff comments would be addressed prior to final plat. Any other comments or questions before we vote? There being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, passes 6-0. Lucky 13. Consider a final plat for the Skyview Commercial Edition Phase 1 comprising 12.5 acres located at the southwest corner of Interstate 14 and Loop 121.
Again, for the presentation is mostly the same thing you've already heard. So for the sake of time, I'm going to speed through this. This first phase consists of 8 lots and it's 12.5 acres. Zoning, again, is commercial 1 and access have been discussed. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of this item at their meeting on the 15th, and staff concurs with that recommendation, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys have, and applicant is also here should you have any questions for them as well.
All right, any comments or questions from the council?
I see the access on that southern lot now.
Yeah.
That was part of the requirements.
Chair would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the item as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the final plat for the Skyview Commercial Edition Phase 1. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes 6-0. Item 14. It's you're not done yet. No. Again, I will be abstaining from this, but I'll manage the motion.
I'm also abstaining from this one.
All right, Dave, the double Daves will be abstaining. So item 14, consider a mural grant application for the property at 122B North Penelope Street, located in the downtown Belton Commercial Historic District at the southwest corner of North Penelope and East First Avenue. Ms. Tina.
Thank you. This property is actually just across the street from the first mural that we approved for the library. The mural is proposed on the northern front of this property, and it will face East First Street or First Avenue, apologize. This isn't a historic district. However, this is a previously painted wall, so it does not require approval from the Historic Preservation Commission because it's already been painted and they're proposing to put more paint. It meets all of our adopted guidelines for a mural. The applicant is debating between two different styles of murals to put on that wall. Both of them will say "Welcome to Belton" and will have longhorns and blue bonnets on the picture. The artist that was chosen is Russell Cushman. He has over 3 decades of experience with murals in different Texas cities. The maximum allowed for a grant is $7,500 for the actual construction of the grant, and there's a stipend for a 5-year maintenance for $2,500. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys have.
All right. Any comments or questions from council? And being involved in that, I might can answer a few questions. So,
Does it have to have longhorns on?
That was a lot of.
They weren't running Brangus up the Chisholm Trail. I just say that. He's actually done several. You can look him up. He's done several Longhorn themed, Southwest themed, like hill country kind of stuff. Some really good looking murals. He's a semi-retired artist that moved to the area, and so
he does extraordinary work. I've seen a number of things that he's done, and we are fortunate to have him do this. I'm glad you're working with him, David and David.
Thank you. We might make it subtle. It won't just be white with an orange.
Yeah, just a huge. I'll make a motion to approve the item.
Second.
We have one person move to approve this item, and second, any other comments or questions? And there will be 2 abstentions. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed by the bare 4 to 0 with 2 abstentions. Yeah, you could have wrecked the Longhorns with just 1 vote against.
That's all.
Cut that away.
All right. Yep. I know that was hard for a few. Yeah. No. All right. Miss Tina finally gets to take a load off. All right. We've now passed through infinity. So approaching the speed of light, hold a public hearing regarding amendments to the existing tax abatement agreements with CSC Group LP, Capital Seating, located within tax abatement zone number 13 in the South Loop Industrial Park, south of East Loop 121 and east of Interstate 35, north of Groves Road at 206 and 212 Groves Road. If that's confusing, just use Google and you can find it.
There you go.
So,
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Happy to present this item to you tonight. As you're well aware, Capital Seating has built 2 buildings in the Southeast Industrial Park. They've received tax abatements for both those properties back in 2022. The item that comes before you tonight is a request to amend those 2 abatements having to do with the schedule and the timing of the completion of those, and again, trying to get as much benefit out of the tax abatement that was originally approved. So the first item is to amend the tax abatement for the 50,000 square foot building, what we call Building A, and then the second for the 75,000 square foot building that was just recently completed. This is the location of the 2 properties, as you can see, and the location is obviously pretty clear. Loop 121 on the north, the interstate on the west, and you can see Building A, the smaller building on the west side of the property, the 50,000 square foot, and then the 75,000 square foot building there on the right-hand side. Just a summary of the components as they were originally approved. The 50,000 square foot building was completed in March of 22. The request is to modify the tax abatement to a 4-year term from 24 to 27 at a fixed rate of 70%. The original term was a 5-year that began at 90% abatement down to 50%. The eligible improvement value is just a little over $1.8 million. The city property tax abatement estimate is $27,380. Originally, for the entire 5-year period, that would have been $44,100. Just kind of a FYI, obviously the building value and the annual property tax rates by the two entities that are involved, the city and Bell County, may change the ultimate abatement amounts as the years go on. The building B, the 75,000 square foot building, completed just this June. And so the request is to modify that tax abatement agreement to also to a 4-year term at a fixed rate of 70%. Now the term here would be from 26 to 29, the effective tax years. And again, the original term was 5 years. This building is estimated at $2 million on the tax rolls. We'll see what those final values come out to be, but that's the working number that we have right now. The city property tax abatement estimate, just under $30,000, and originally it was $44,100. And again, the building value and the property tax rates will determine the final abatement. Our recommendation to you is to consider the request. We feel like the request is reasonable. Obviously, a lot of things have happened during this last 4 or 5-year time period. The first building was substantially impacted by COVID, supply chain issues, and there certainly have been construction delays, electrical issues, and other things in relation to the building B. Certainly an eligible consideration for our tax abatement policy. Both the location and the use make this property eligible. Obviously, y'all granted the request in the past, so it's a reasonable consideration. If they were starting from scratch right now, a 5-year abatement would be eligible for 70%, and certainly could begin at 100% if y'all chose to do that. Talked about the delays. The applicant is simply seeking a reduced term and a 70% abatement for both to try to acknowledge and recognize the situation as where we are right now in timing. These properties will be on the tax rolls for indefinitely, and so once the abatement ends, these values would accrue to both the city and Bell County. We have scheduled with Bell County consideration of these items as well, and a public hearing on the 4th of August. This is just a summary of the original abatement approved and then what we're proposing. The yellow is what is being proposed. Building A, as you can see, the total would be $56,640 for A and B, and you can see the total as it was originally approved. And then, of course, the county numbers are there on the right as well. So we would recommend that you conduct a public hearing and approve the request as submitted, recognizing the timing situation that the applicant finds themselves in, and the Manses are here to make any comments and respond to any questions you might have. And I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have.
All right, thank you, Sam. Again, as Sam stated, this is a public hearing, and so if anyone wishes to speak in favor or against this item, they may do so. Again, limiting comments to roughly 3 minutes. The floor is open. A name and address for the record for Miss Amy.
Todd Mans, general partner, CSC Group. We were the ones that built the building, also president of USA Capital, who leases those facilities. I want to thank the city for working with us on this project. We were impacted by COVID during the construction of the first facility, which pushed out the second facility, and we appreciate you guys working with us on this.
Thank you. Cynthia.
Thanks. Cynthia Hernandez, Belton EDC 412 East Central, Belton. And I just want to speak in favor of the tax abatement request and just make the comment that we certainly appreciate the city's partnership in allowing this tool for business recruitment, business retention, and business expansion, which is what USA Capital is doing. And so thank you for your consideration, and we ask for your support in this.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, there being no other comments, we'll close the floor and reopen deliberations for the council for comments, questions, or motions. Or all of the above.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented with just a quick comment of appreciation for the investment in the community and the business that this has already contributed and will contribute, and the job creation and just the impact, positive impact. I'm enthusiastically, that's exciting, right? Enthusiastically present number 15 as approved. I mean, as presented, I'm sorry.
I will second the motion and the comments.
All right, we have a motion and a second to enthusiastically approve this item.
It's very exciting, right?
Yes, absolutely. Any other comments, questions? I will say thanks for being partners with the city of Belton and to keep your business here and the employees here. Apologize. I know that it's always a hard thing as you're dealing with the electric and certificates of occupancy and all that stuff. I know that that was a little bit of a hassle, but I'm glad we all got through it. So again, thank you guys for being patient and thank you for being partners. Any other comments before we vote? All in favor of amending the existing tax abatement agreement as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes 6-0.
Go build building C.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Item 16, we're nearing the end. I know it's going to be a sad day when we end this at 17, but we're still at 16. So 16 is consider authorizing the city manager to execute a memorandum of understanding with Bell County ESD Salado Fire Department, which would realign fire response districts for the purpose of more timely, efficient, emergency responsive for both departments. I just threw that last part in.
Yes, it is definitely for both. Mayor, council, thank you. I'm very glad we're able to come in and talk about this tonight and hopefully get you guys approval. So the chief and I from Salado have been talking for quite a while about how our district goes almost to their city limits and their district comes all the way up to our city limits, and some ideas about how we could possibly handle that situation. So we came up with this adjustment. This adjustment will improve response efficiency and better serve the public. It identifies areas where each agency is closer and can respond faster. It supports smarter service delivery based on geographic and real-time conditions. So why now? Recently, the ESD allowed Salado to start hiring full-time people. Their capabilities match Belton's very closely. And looking with the chief and I sat down and looked at their response model versus our response model, and it's very close. So we feel like both areas will receive the same level of emergency response, but at a much quicker pace. Some of the key benefits: it focuses on public safety and operational efficiency. It's faster response times based on the closest unit principle. It reduces apparatus wear, fuel consumption, drive time, and it does create a better interagency coordination between us and our close neighbor. So here's kind of the map we're looking at, the proposed area. Everything that you see in orange there, we'll call that orange, David. Yeah.
Close enough.
I tried to make it burn orange for you. So everything we see in orange there and the blue area that you see, the hash blue area, is part of Salado's ESD1. And as you can see, that ESD1, the blue area, comes all the way up to the east side of the loop. And in turn, the red hashed area is our city limits that go almost all the way down to Salado's city limits. So we did looked at the best way of kind of how do we separate the two? Where do we build those boundaries to? So we looked at some natural division lines. And then we did some measuring, and in fact, everything that we are proposing betters that service delivery model. Mutual aid was a big topic when we were looking at the aid agreement. We felt that because the south town is still going to be within the city limits and the north part that we would be picking up is still going to be in their ESD, we felt that it's important that any major calls, both departments would go. So any structure fires on the initial alarm, both Belton and Salado would go to either one of those areas. And then once we get there, we establish command and we share that command. Now, the fire marshal's responsibility doesn't change. His district doesn't change. Any fires that happen in our city limits, he is going to investigate. So even though that Salado is going to be, they're going to be their primary response district, our fire marshal will still investigate every fire that happens within the city limits. It outlines the MOU outlines the operational command and jurisdiction guidelines. We thought it would be very important to annually review this MOU because situations are going to change. This isn't meant to be a permanent fix to the issue. It's meant to fix the issue today. And then as departments grow, Salado grows, puts in new fire stations, Belton grows, puts in new fire stations. We may have to adjust that or just take our district back. So it's not meant as a permanent fix. It's just meant to help us out today. It goes effect immediately. The MOU is endorsed by the city, would be endorsed by the city of Belton and by the ESD board. There's no change to the city limits and no change to the ESD boundaries. Therefore, there really is no cost associated with this MOU. I threw up give you an idea of kind of where those boundaries actually lie. We just saw the presentation on River Farms. Think about that very top north part of River Farms. That would be the boundary. And when we're building the boundaries, when we sit down with 911 system to build the boundaries, we normally go by property line. So if it's addressed to this address, we know who's supposed to be there. Where if you cut through a piece of property, it kind of mucks that up a little bit. So we'll do a good job when we go back and work with the 911 mapping. Elmer King is really that south portion. Everything south of Elmer King and the River Farms little fingers that go out there, that would all be that's proposed to go over to Salado. All right, on that, do y'all have any questions?
All right, this not being a public hearing, any questions you guys have for deliberation?
I've got a question.
Sure.
First, I think I'm sure you addressed this, but just want to be sure that I understand. This doesn't change the jurisdiction, just who is going to respond to the first.
Right. So if you think about it this way, the city of Belton has a responsibility to try to find the best service that we can to our entire city limits. Sometimes that's using our own internal, but sometimes that's using external. And this is just using an external to get them there quickest. No change to city limits, no change of responsibilities other than who's going to be first there.
And this includes both fire and EMS?
Just fire.
Just fire.
Just fire.
Okay. So if there's a call at the south end of I-35 that requires EMS,
they would be going in, Salado would be coming in as a first responder organization, very similar to what we do. AMR will still provide that EMS unit.
okay.
Yeah.
But they're coming from Salado or coming from Belton?
Coming. AMR has a truck in Salado.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you talked about the annual review process. Can one party terminate this MOU at any time, or
at
just
any
the part of
time?
that? Okay.
Yep. At any time.
So if we don't feel like it's working or they don't feel like it's working, one party can give the other notice
Yep.
and say,
And then we go back to where it is today.
okay.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Me too.
Chief, does this improve our posture or solidify our posture where we are in terms of fire insurance for our citizens?
It shouldn't change it whatsoever. Out in that area, there's still going to be a 3X because they belong to within the city limits. So there'll be a 3X out in that area.
And for those who don't know what 3X is, 3X
That's
is-
a ISO rating of 3X. So
Chair would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve item number 16 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item 16. And just to follow on to Dave's comments, once upon a time, the city of Belton did a significant amount of service for Bell County outside the city limits for both EMS and fire. And we were reimbursed by Bell County to do those services. When Bell County changed the way that they funded it, it was no longer financially viable for the city of Belton to service outside of our city limits. And so as we looked through those, we decided that it's best for us to serve our citizens first and then support in the county as needed, which we do. So that affected these areas that traditionally we would have serviced, we no longer service outside of our city limits. And so what we're doing here is finding a reasonable compromise to allow for us to serve areas outside of our city limits that's served by Salado. And in return, they would then serve this. It's a mutually beneficial mutual aid. We've got really good, and you'll see in item 17, we've got really good relationships with our neighboring cities. We continue to solidify those relationships with purchasing water, delivering water, sewer, and mutual aid with fire. And so we've got good, rapid response on water and stuff. We work with Nolanville, we work with Harker Heights, Temple, and now Salado even more. So again, I just wanted to give that context because it kind of is confusing why the blue hashed and the red hashed. So, right. Any other comments before we vote? All right. There being no other comments, all in favor for executing the memorandum of understanding with the Salado Fire Department, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes 6-0.
thank you.
Drum roll, please. Item number 17. Consider the following items related to the Temple Belton wastewater treatment plant phase 2 expansion. I'll let you present on, you going to present on both of them at the same time, or you want to do one at a time?
Both at the same time.
Both at the same time. All right, I'll read them both. Consider awarding a bid and authorizing the city manager to execute the construction contract and any change orders associated with the contract not to exceed the amount authorized under state law. And item B, consider authorizing the city manager to enter into a professional services agreement with Casper, Patrick and Associates for construction administration services. Mr. Scott.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Excited to present to you the expansion here for the Temple Belton wastewater treatment plant, and consuming the construction award and the construction admin. To get started, just a little background on this. This plant serves 70% of Temple and 100% of Belton. It's permitted at 10 million gallons right now and 30 million peak. Temple's flow is 75%, our flow is 25%. And TCQ requires that after a 75% exceedance of 3 consecutive months, that you have to go into a design for the influent flows and such to get out of that phase. This trigger was met in 2010. And with that, I'm going to just give you a little history of phase 1. The work was done and completed in 2020. There was nothing that changed to capacity at that time. It still had the 10 million gallon flow and the 30 million peak. The improvements included the headworks, the odor control, and then the EQ basin, which the EQ basin provided a little additional storage for the plant to at least take in some influent, but had nothing to do with capacity. So that was a benefit at that time. This is just a little before and after. After you can see up towards 6th Avenue, the highlighted portion, the circled portion, is the headworks that was installed. The portion down below that's circled was the EQ basin that allowed for the additional storage in order for it to be treated during peak flows. That's the kind of the defining factor there was the peak flow times. This phase here, it was awarded in 2016 for the design for phase 2. And the design includes the biological treatment, which is what's going to be the capacity of the additional 6 million gallons. The disc filtration, UV disinfection, which is what is kind of highlighted on the picture there. It's going to be a a pretty impressive disinfecting of the wastewater. Headwork modifications, an additional clarifier, which there would be number 5, an additional gravity thickener, and effluent meter and pump modifications, along with yard piping and structural and electrical improvements. This here kind of gives you a little outline. Phase 1, the headworks up to the top, and over to the side, the red square was showing the EQ basin that they were able to store additional influent wastewater in, and the green is showing what phase 2 is going to be to this date. We received 2 competitive bids, June 17th. We had an OPC of 68.2 million, and we had, like I said, 2 competitive, 67.5, 77.5. Casberg, Patrick and Associates and city staff reviewed and recommended that Matus Construction, for the low bid, would receive the contract award. This construction is scheduled for 920 calendar days. Little summary of this is the total contract is 67.5 million between both cities. Belton's share of 25% is 16.8 million. This is funded through the 2025 certificates of obligation, and the bond that we took out covers the cost of this construction. The new expansion will treat 16 million gallons per day with a peak flow of 40 million gallons. And as mentioned previous, the construction will be completed in approximately 30 months. Moving on to the construction admin services with Casberg, Patrick and Associates. The services include administrative services, project representation, electrical, arc flash, breaker power studies, PLC programming, equipment startup, minor amendments, and warranty period within that contract. Belton's portion, as you can see, is 720,000. Temple's portion is 2.1, 25% to 75% difference. The fiscal impact will be with the cost share of Matus Construction and Casberg, Patrick and Associates. Our portion, the city's, is 17.6 million. And with that, the city's recommendation is authorizing the city to execute the construction contract and enter into the professional contract services with KPA. Be happy to answer any questions. We also have Tommy Valley with KPA here and Blake Pitts with Matus Construction.
Thank you guys for being here. And this not being a public hearing, council have any comments, questions, or chair would entertain a motion to include items A and B.
Do you have any kind of estimate on how long this will last us before we have to expand again?
It'll take several years. I don't have
The initial design said about 2045, but obviously we're outpacing 2010 stuff pretty quick. But I mean, 2040, 2045 is what we've kind of circled on the calendar is potentially when we start thinking about it. So 20 years, hopefully get 20 years out of it, and then we're ready again.
And it only took us 10 years to get here,
15.
and then 3 years to build it. And then 20 years is just right around the corner.
Totally depending on growth.
It feels like I-35.
Depending on growth, how fast
Sure.
growth comes, subdivisions and the contribution by Temple and Belton, basically, that'll be a big determinant in how fast an expansion might be needed.
Well,
The timing's right.
it's actually crappy timing, but
No pun intended.
With all the growth coming, important, so. I'll make a motion to approve item number 17, and thank you for the thorough presentation.
I'll number 2 it.
Gosh, dang it. Oh, dang it. We have a motion and a second to approve the items related to the Temple Belton wastewater treatment plant, including awarding the bid and authorizing the city manager to execute the contract with Matus, as well as authorizing the city manager to enter into professional services with Casberg, Patrick and Associates. Any final comments or shots that you'd like to make? All right.
We appreciate the council support getting here. It's been a long time getting here.
It has been
15 years since that original identification of the need.
Yeah.
I think the original bid was like $55 and it's now like 55.
Wait, how long were our bonds?
Yeah.
We've been through several city managers.
Yeah.
They have.
They have. We got the same crappy one. I mean, we still have Sam. I'm sorry. Daniel spun it up, so I'm sorry. I should not have said that. Love you, Sam. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Thank you, guys. Passes 6-0. Oh, yes, we are adjourned. Get us off the. Yeah, get us off.
Need a motion to adjourn, David?
Yeah, we're not.
Gotta get in front of it.
Oh, my goodness.
No, use the number 2.
Yeah.
Don't use the Sam one.